Welcome to my B&B Today's Show channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribes button and give this video thumbs up. The tragic fate of Ridge and Taylor's love story is sealed by this one thing. The romance between Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes is doomed, according to the bold and the beautiful spoilers. There's one thing that's sealing the couple's sad fate. At least it'll be sad for Taylor. Taylor and Ridge's most recent reunion was undoubtedly a hope for some fans. In the eyes of many viewers, Ridge and Brooke Logan's relationship has become stale and rather uninteresting. Taylor tends to be the runner-up in this love triangle, so supporters of her pairing with Ridge were perhaps excited for her to be the winner for once. However, there is absolutely no such thing as winning a love triangle centered on Ridge and his erratic heart. Of course, Ridge is pushing Brooke away and standing by Taylor for now. That would seem to be a good thing, but Ridge's use of language is the problem. It's significant that Ridge constantly talks about being committed to Taylor. Ridge simply repeats that commitment mantra no matter how many times Brooke, Eric Forrester, or anyone else tries to steer him back in the direction of his ex. That presents a problem for a number of reasons, the first of which is Ridge's inability to truly remain committed to anyone for an indefinite amount of time. There is no reason to believe Ridge has suddenly changed and that this commitment will never end. Ridge's continued focus on being committed to Taylor rather than in love with her may be the bigger problem. We might buy that Ridge's heart truly belonged to Taylor if he was constantly gushing about his feelings for her. But he isn't. Ridge doesn't act like a man in love at all. He acts like a man who feels obligated to stay by Taylor's side. That's partly because Ridge doesn't want to let Taylor down again, especially considering her broken heart syndrome and everything she's been through to reach this point. Ridge also doesn't want to off-canvas disappoint Steffi Forrester or even Thomas Forrester. In addition, Ridge is stubborn and unable to overcome Brooke's CEO betrayal throughout the takeover drama. It is abundantly clear that Ridge's decision to remain with Taylor does not reflect his desire to forge a lasting relationship with her. That's why Taylor and Ridge's love story just isn't meant to last. Ridge's actions are making that clear and setting up his eventual reunion with Brooke. Naturally, it'll be a long and winding road to get to Ridge and Brooke's next chapter. Brooke is gearing up for more heartbreak ahead of Nick Marone's return, so she'll fall into his arms following so many Ridge rejections. That could provoke Ridge's jealousy and get the ball rolling on him getting back together with Brooke down the line. We'd say that by the time the holidays come around again, Brooke will have fulfilled her promise to reunite with Ridge. Taylor may get several months of happiness, maybe even as Ridge's wife if he goes as far as tying the knot with her. But it's all doomed to fall apart in the end. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Taylor is destined to become the loser of this love triangle once again sooner or later. Ridge is leaving. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say that sooner or later, someone is going to have to stand up to him. Ridge will be leaving. It should come as no surprise that we are discussing Ridge Forrester. Because he has been treating women badly in this fictional Los Angeles town for so long, those who have had to deal with him and all the pain he has caused them will eventually expose him for what he really is. That is, a man who clearly lacks the knowledge necessary to properly love a woman. Ridge seems to do very little when it comes to giving his love, despite the fact that he enjoys being around women and receiving their affection. Or at least the right way. Truth be told, everyone is simply tired of his shenanigans. Sure, Taylor Hayes might feel like she's on cloud nine just because Ridge has chosen her right now. But that feeling isn't going to last forever. It will only be a matter of time before he goes back to Brooke Logan, which is going to prompt Taylor to leave town once again. However, the bold and the beautiful spoilers strongly predict that it's going to be Ridge that's going to leave Los Angeles, as he's going to need to take a long break from his life to reassess the way things are going for him right now. Brooke and Taylor need to look for love elsewhere. Plus, seeing Ridge leave the show for some time will also give Brooke and Taylor an opportunity to find love with other men in their lives. After all, Ridge isn't the only man on the planet, even though Brooke and Taylor sometimes act like he is. Of course, the bold and the beautiful fans will have to tune in each and every day to find out what will happen next. Watch this space for more. Hope learns the devastating truth about Liam. Hope can tell that Liam is thinking about something at Brooke's house. What aren't you telling me? Steffi's words to Liam, she needs to know, come to mind. Hope keeps prodding and Liam says he would love to talk to her about Beth. He'd like to spend a little more time with her and give Hope a break. Hope says yes, she adores him. She doesn't know how much that means to Liam, he tells her. Hope inquires if he came over to talk to her about anything else. She questions the real reason he's staying at Steffi's. Liam, head covered, grimaces as he holds his arm, standing before Hope. Hope points out Bill's place is closer to work. Liam claims that Steffi was the first person he mentioned it to. Hope inquires about Finn's reaction to the arrangement. Liam says he was pushing for it. The man's a damn saint. He adds that he'll be moving on soon. Hope asks if he's sure there's nothing else he wants to tell her. At the Cliff House, Finn and Steffi discuss Liam not telling Hope about his condition. Steffi would want to know if the situation were reversed. He really needs to let her know what's going on, as it's causing more stress. Steffi goes over how unfair it is that Liam has an inoperable brain tumor. He must inform Hope of the situation so that she can be ready to assist Beth when the time comes. Deacon surprises Brooke. Brooke joins Deacon at Il Giardino, where he informs her that he's worried their daughter is going to let Carter back into her life. He complains that he dumped Hope, but Brooke says it was the other way around. Deacon insists he trampled on her heart. Brooke finds it nice that he's being protective, but she doesn't see Hope and Carter's relationship that way at all. Deacon Brooke B&B. Deacon isn't thrilled with Brooke promoting Carter given his track record. Brooke believes he loves Hope. Deacon rants about Daphne. Brooke says there's only one woman for Carter, and that's Hope. Brooke sincerely hopes that Deacon did not lose it while Carter was at her house. This time Deacon controlled himself, but he was warned. Hope doesn't want Brooke to give up, but he says he won't. Deacon ought to let her choose the man she wants in her life if he wants to be supportive. Deacon asks, "What if it's Liam?" Brooke looks confused. "New. Is Brooke's son Jack returning?" Deacon says Liam's a good man. Brooke agrees but points out Deacon hasn't always felt that way. Deacon concedes that he's not a fan of the vegan thing, and he didn't like him going back and forth between Hope and Steffi, but she's with Finn now. He thinks Liam and Hope could have a bright future. Deacon Brooke B&B Daphne's final attempt? At Forrester, Carter realizes Daphne wants him to move on from Hope. She thinks their time has come and gone, as difficult as it is for him to admit or accept. Daphne doesn't meant to be harsh. She thinks his emotions are confused. He can't move on from Hope because he feels responsible for her not being at Forrester. Things happen for a reason. Maybe it's time to him to make a new life for himself. She is correct when she says that he is struggling, and Carter appreciates her care and concern. But he wishes Hope was there and is determined to make that happen. Daphne adds, and determined to win her back. In the CEO's office, Daphne holds onto the green chair and gazes seductively up at Carter. Once Liam has left Brooke's house, Hope thumbs through photos of their family on her phone. More. Will Liam be saved by a medical error? At the Cliff House, Liam joins Finn and Steffi, who asks if he saw Hope. He says, yeah. However, he admits not telling her he was dying. He is not yet prepared. Finn warns he needs to think about Hope. Steffi adds, you can't hurt her that way. Hope will want to be there for him and deserves to know the truth. They love and appreciate him so much. Speak to her today. Liam doesn't want his death to take over the lives of everyone else. He doesn't want to sit around all day and watch people betray him. The grieving can wait until after he's gone. Liam walks out the back, and Steffi tells Finn he's wrong about this. I'm going to tell the truth to Hope. Liam's B&B. Liam comes back inside and asks where Steffi has gone. Finn deflects from answering and assures him Steffi is there for him. If he allowed her, Hope would be as well. He warns that his symptoms will worsen, and he won't be able to keep it from her forever. Finn assures him they'll keep fighting alongside him, but he has to know Hope would want to know and be by his side too. Liam can't argue the point, but he has to do it his way. For now, he's keeping it a secret. Finn Liam B&B. Steffi tells Hope. At Brooke's place, Hope continues to look through photos of Liam and Beth. Carter calls wanting to hear her voice. He's at Forrester and wishes she were there. Hope misses it too. He says he won't rest until she and her line are back at the company. But even more so, what really doesn't feel right is waking up in the morning and not seeing you. Not feeling you by my side. I want that back. I want us back. He won't give up on them. So, don't you give up either. More. The actual reason Liam was put to death. Hope is still looking at her phone when Steffi comes in. She's sure she's the last person Hope was expecting. Hope inquires about her presence to reassure her that she is most welcome back at Forrester. Steffi says it's not about business. Hope isn't sure then what they have to talk about. Steffi husks, "Are we alone?" Hope asks if she's afraid someone might overhear. Steffi gives a shaky response. "Yes, I am. Considering." Hope asks, "Considering?" Steffi flashes to Liam telling her he doesn't want Hope to know. Hope asks if she's okay. Steffi says, "No. No, I'm not okay." Hope, baffled, asks what she wants to talk about. Steffi cries, "It's about Liam." Hope asks, "What about Liam?" Steffi sniffs, "I'm sorry, I'm just processing it all." Hope panics. "Processing what? What about Liam?" Steffi gasps, "He's dying. He's dying, Hope." Luna's vow, Hope's tumor discovery, Steffi's bombshell. The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Thursday, May 8, 2025 are here. In the next episode, fans can expect Luna Nozawa to make a vow to have a relationship with John Finnegan. Meanwhile, Steffi Forrester Finnegan tells Hope Logan about Liam Spencer's brain tumor. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the CBS soap opera, Luna Nozawa's Vow. In tomorrow's episode, fans will see Luna make a vow. Right now, Luna has two major obsessions. One is Will Spencer, who is currently dating Electra Forrester. The other obsession is Finn, who is Luna's biological father. Luna wants a relationship with her father, but there is no way Steffi will ever allow it. Still, when have people's wishes, rules, or even laws mattered to Luna? The girl is clever and manipulative, so she will find a way to talk to Finn again. Read more. Find out what happened on the last episode of B&B. John Finnegan distracted. In fact, Finn has been distracted by Steffi and Liam's brain tumor. When Finn isn't saving lives at the hospital, he's trying to console Steffi and reason with Liam. So, Finn is likely already very distracted. Luna will have the chance to strike at that point. In fact, in a weekly preview clip, Luna corners Finn and begs her dad not to turn his back on her. Luna's request's timing is intriguing. Just as Finn is listening to Liam preach about forgiveness and express regret, could the good doctor decide to take a chance on Luna? Steffi Forrester Finnegan's bombshell. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for tomorrow reveal that Steffi will share the details about Liam's brain tumor with Hope. While Hope will be devastated, she will agree to stand united with Steffi. After all, they both care about Liam and have children with him. Kelly Spencer and Beth Spencer. Read this. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Carter is lacking chemistry with this person. Thursday, May 8, 2025. Fans also might see what happens as Steffi and Hope discuss Liam's prognosis. Hope's first priority will be Beth. However, Hope might also ask if Bill Spencer and Wyatt Spencer know. Hope is aware that there is some stuff going on between Bill and Liam, but has no idea of how bad it is. So, will Hope decide to tell Bill what's going on with his son? Rich Forrester and Taylor Hayes have long danced the tragic waltz of almost love on The Bold and the Beautiful, and while their most recent reunion initially sparked hope in the hearts of longtime fans, the underlying current of emotional disconnect has made it tragically clear. This love story is doomed, and one devastating truth seals its sad fate. That truth lies not in scandal, betrayal, or even outside interference, but rather in Ridge's own language, his repeated insistence on being committed to Taylor, rather than in love with her. It's a subtle difference, yet monumentally telling, and it echoes a truth about Ridge that fans have seen play out for decades. He is a man who confuses obligation for devotion, who chooses loyalty when passion fades, and who, despite his years and countless failed relationships, still doesn't seem to understand the anatomy of lasting love. When Ridge says he's committed to Taylor, it might sound noble on the surface. A man finally choosing the woman who stood by him, who raised his children, and who has, time and time again, taken a back seat to the all-consuming saga that is Ridge and Brooke, but what it actually betrays is a profound emotional detachment. For Ridge, commitment in this context is not a promise rooted in love, but an act of penance, a way to compensate for the pain he's caused. His decision to stay with Taylor is grounded in guilt, not desire. It's about not breaking her heart again, about not disappointing Steffi or Thomas, and about proving to himself and the world that he can be a better man, but in doing so, he's reduced Taylor to a moral checkbox, someone he's trying to do right by, rather than someone he can't live without. Taylor, ever hopeful and clings to this version of Ridge, ever forgiving, desperate to believe that this time things will be different and that he will choose her instead of having to. But the emotional disparity is too wide to ignore. Ridge doesn't gush about her in private. He doesn't look at her the way he once looked at Brooke, with that dangerous, impetuous spark that bordered on reckless abandon. Instead, he talks about duty, consistency, and making it work, all of which men say when they try to convince themselves that what they have is sufficient. But for Taylor, who has been second best too many times, being enough on paper isn't the same as being loved unconditionally. It's almost cruel, the way Ridge tries to be kind by staying, all while denying her the one thing she truly wants, his heart. And deep down she senses it. Taylor is aware of Ridge's tendency to avoid saying, "I'm in love with you," to carefully describe his feelings, and to stare for an excessive amount of time when Brooke enters the room. Ridge's heart is still tied to Brooke in ways he won't admit. Not to her, not to himself, not yet. And that's what makes this iteration of their love story the most heartbreaking of all. Because this is not the raging affair of their youth, when passion and resentment lit up the Forrester family's home. This is something quieter, sadder. A love story that's gone muted, with one half trying to ignite what's no longer there, and the other half too afraid to admit the flame has gone out. Taylor has convinced herself that Ridge can grow into the love she wants from him, that commitment will evolve into desire, but Ridge's own track record says otherwise. He's never been a man who stays for long, and even now, in what should be the most stable chapter of his life, he's showing signs of the same old pattern. The more Brooke pulls away, first through rejection, then with the distraction of Nick Marone's return, the more Ridge will start to waver. Ridge, despite his best intentions, is a creature of habit, and nothing ignites his interest like the prospect of losing Brooke to another man. When Brooke inevitably leans on Nick after another round of Ridge's emotional unavailability, it will spark a new fire in Ridge, one born not of true realization, but of possessiveness, nostalgia, and ego. Taylor, meanwhile, will once again be caught in the crossfire of Ridge's internal struggle, a role she has played for too many years. And it is precisely this inevitability that makes Ridge's use of the word commitment so devastating. Because it's a word that implies permanence, yet in Ridge's world, nothing is ever permanent, especially not love. Ridge wouldn't have to keep reassuring everyone, including himself, that he was truly in love with Taylor. Love, real love, doesn't need to be rationalized. It doesn't need to be justified through acts of loyalty or past misdeeds. It is as it is. And Ridge doesn't feel that way anymore or ever for Taylor in the way she had always imagined. Although he may have a deep affection for her, respect and admiration for her strength, and desire to protect her from further harm, these are the feelings of a friend, co-parent, or longtime companion, not of a man in love. Taylor deserves more than that, and though it will break her heart to realize it, the sooner she does, the better. Because the longer she clings to the illusion of a romance built on Ridge's guilt and avoidance, the deeper the wound will be when, not if, he inevitably drifts back toward Brooke. And make no mistake, he will drift back. The show has already laid the groundwork. Brooke, currently heartbroken and disillusioned, is ripe for a romantic reawakening, and Nick Marone's return is perfectly timed to facilitate it. With Ridge out of the picture, at least emotionally, Brooke will be vulnerable, but also determined to reclaim some of her own worth. Nick, with his no-nonsense charisma and deep history with Brooke, will offer her something Ridge no longer can: a fresh start. But that fresh start will be a double-edged sword. Because nothing gets under Ridge's skin like seeing Brooke move on, especially with someone like Nick, whose very presence calls Ridge's masculinity into question. Ridge's jealousy will be the crack that shatters his self-imposed wall of commitment to Taylor. It will start small. A few snide comments, a tense encounter, an unexpected flare of emotion when he sees Brooke and Nick laughing in the Forrester Creations office. But it will escalate quickly, and before long, Ridge will be doing what he always does, questioning everything, doubting his decisions, and eventually, pulling away from Taylor under the pretense of needing space. And poor Taylor, who believed she finally had the fairy tale ending, will be left with the crumbs once again. It's a tragic inevitability born not out of malice, but out of deeply ingrained patterns and emotional cowardice. Ridge simply isn't capable of giving Taylor the all-encompassing love she craves. Not while Brooke is still the center of his romantic universe, even when he pretends she's not. The sad fate of Ridge and Taylor's love story is sealed not by external drama or sabotage, but by that one glaring omission: love. Ridge says he's committed, but he never says he's in love. And in a world like the bold and the beautiful, where passion and desire reign supreme, commitment without love is a death sentence. Taylor deserves more than a placeholder relationship. She deserves someone who chooses her not out of duty, not out of guilt, and not because the alternative is too complicated, but because he cannot imagine a future without her. Unfortunately, Ridge Forrester is not that man. Not now. Not ever. And so their latest reunion, one that began with such promise, is destined to end in heartbreak, with Ridge returning once more to Brooke, and Taylor left to pick up the pieces of a fantasy that was never truly hers to begin with. In the end, the saddest part isn't that Ridge and Taylor's love story is ending. It's that it never really began. Not in the way that mattered. Not in the way that lasts. Because love, real love, doesn't sound like, I'm committed. It sounds like, I choose you. Forever, always, and without hesitation. And that is a sentence Ridge Forrester will never be able to say to Taylor Hayes.